I had to push record to fucking snitch on someone to fucking get them to fucking let me listen into the real broadcast that's going on, because when I click on the fucking thing, they don't want to let me listen to David and find out the Defy and everything else about David and Diane.
And a half, he got an award from the CMT Association for the work he did, and it's basically called the 5% Canary, and it correlates specifically the idea that if you hit a new high in the S&P 500 within 15 trading days, you actually violate the 200 SMA, and particularly then close below that. So it's a correlation thing. It's not just closing below the 200 or violating it. And that does have some ramifications, in terms of ups and downs over a period of time. But within 42 days thereafter, if you get two closes below the 200 SMA in that 42-day trading cycle, the probability that the market is turned is very, very, very high. Okay? So that's what I would probably point people to as some homework to look at. You could find his white paper online. Maybe I can post it up here in a minute. I can pull over in a second and try to post that into the nest if David is open to that. Otherwise, I would encourage you to find it on your own.
No. When you have time, don't pull over just to inconvenience. But when you have time, please post it in this space. I'd love to have it part of it.
Yeah, so that would be the one thing that I would point to. I'm not sure about the
42 days after the first breakthrough on the 200.
My $1 is throttling it down about $18. It looked like to me, and now it'll come back. It's just throttling it down a bit.
It is 42 days, right?
Okay.
I don't want to do it too fast and have it fucked up.
And it's that secondary correlation where it makes the it obviously makes it much stronger in terms of the signal.
Okay, so we're already.
I was thinking in 91 by another one, because literally.
Right. Next Monday, what's Monday?
It's still throttling back because of all your buys.
We're going to the 10th. Monday's the 10th.
Yeah, you can figure it. Somebody's selling off constantly, and I'm like, ooh, I'll go knock him in the head.
Trading days?
It's trading days, yeah.
Okay. All right, interesting. I'll keep that in mind, though. Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
I just don't want to be doing another space counting the days, saying shit. What do we do next, right? Yeah. So always interesting, isn't it, Antithetos?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is one thing we have to remember, right, is that we're in an environment where the world is changing a bit, and with that, we had record levels of So I'm guessing that most of the people that are dialing in today could be, in North America. You may have some folks calling in from Europe, but given it's overnight there, chances are they're asleep. And so the point in saying that is very simple. We have record levels of investment in the United States from the rest of the world. This has been the market that had exceptionalism to it, right? And it's been outperforming the global stock markets, with the exception of India, for example, across the board, particularly Europe and other places. And China's been out of, with the recent exceptions, China has been for 3 years down, in a row. So the point is, you have something like 40% of U.S. equities owned by foreigners. Okay, that's a significant level of ownership. And if those people start to move their funds and repatriate because the U.S. dollar is dropping, which it currently is, and because their own conditions are improving, such as Japan, right, with their 10-year yield hitting the highest level in well over a decade, right? The point is that there is money that can move in different places, and so at the same time, we're facing what people would potentially call austerity. Steve Cohen is on record saying that in the last week. So these are not my words; they're his. Having said that, You look over to our allies in Europe, and what are they talking about? They're talking about increasing their investments, their spend in military defense related to NATO. They're looking to do stimulus, if you will. So the DAX yesterday was at 3%, right? That's not by accident, and it was a new all-time high. Did it underperform for a long time? Yeah, but now it's moving higher. And so what I'm saying is where there's danger potentially in our markets, there may be opportunity in others.
True. You missed short seller. He threw that thesis out a little. Way early.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
No. You mentioned that earlier. What Anticitos is bringing up now about the weakening dollar, foreign investments in equities when we started the program. So Anticitos hit a lot of the same points.
By the way, as an aside, for any of you who are new to Anticitos, highly recommended follow.
All you guys got to do is pick me up with this stock and help me out as Americans. Like, I mean, I don't know what you're trying to. Where you don't give a fuck about America. Don't give a fuck about me.
So I appreciate that. Always an honor. And the last thing I'll point out, and again, these are not recommendations directly, but here's what I will say.
I caused that drop. You watched me do it, so I know I'm going to get my money back.
Now, they only have so much control over it, but if in fact they're successful, because there's a lot of debt that still has to be rolled over, at the Treasury this year, and it's significant. And so, that it's not like they're going to have an easy job doing this, right? But if they are able to get that 10-year down, that is your anchor point for 30-year mortgages. And the mortgage spread, and I've talked about this before, I'm not sure on this space, but I've talked about it on another space in the past that I know for sure. Historically, it's about 180 bips difference. So whatever the 10-year is, 1.8% higher is historically, you add that to whatever the 10-year is, and that should be your 30-year mortgage. We're still running around 235 or 230 bips, meaning you had 2.3 or 2.35%
getting
roughly
10 of them
to the 10-year. So that means we were about 55.
Another one, that's
60 points roughly on a spread basis, higher.
I won't kill him over saying 60 on the
Now,
two.
the question is, do they have some tools in their toolbox to help compress that to historical levels? Because that drops the 10-year significantly, right? If you're at 6.75-ish, we'll call it, today, right? You're going to be close to 6. And we saw what happened in the fourth quarter when we got down to about 6.15-ish, right? You started to see some upticks like last, I think it was October. Now, what is the magic number? The magic number is 5.5%, according to John Byrne Consulting. And they are in the real estate industry, and they've done the surveys, and they've asked people to raise their hands and say, what's that magic number for you to either refi or to get interested, potentially going out and doing some purchases? 5.5% is that number. Like that? But if we're getting close, it's 6.15 just on the mortgage spread differential, right? That would be huge, especially if they can then also get the 10-year below 4%. Because once they can knock on that door and they get close, it may not take them to get to 5.5 for those people that raise their hand. They might say 5.75 is close enough. So where I'm going with this is that while you might have unemployment tick up over time,
they're telling you if you get one
by stuff that's happening because of the news headlines, and you have to, it's hard to not get caught up in this because it's all throughout the day, right? There's a lot going on.
It didn't give
moving markets at many durations. I'm sure the two of them already spoke about this, but it's hard, right, to look at this and sort of make heads or tails of it. Having said that, if transactions go up, who benefits in the real estate industry? Well, it's your mortgage brokers and your title companies. And so many of those companies, their stocks are down and out. They may not look great on the charts.
Oh, no.
But there's a reason for that, right? Their business is way down.